Ubaldo Jimenez has not signed. There are people thinking now he's just going to go back to the National League, where he had a lot of success, oddly enough, with the Colorado Rockies team. Irvin Santana is still out there. A.J. Burnett is now off the table. He goes to the Phillies. What is the most likely domino to fall here soon for the Jays, if any?
I really have no guess at this point. It's still the same game that we've been talking about all year. Who's going to blink first? Who is going to feel the pressure most? And the sense that I've been getting more and more is that the Blue Jays feel like if they don't get someone, that they've got a chance to be okay at the pitching staff. So if one of these players is going to buckle and sign with the Blue Jays at their price, then they'll have enough with the deal. But if not, the Blue Jays seem to be willing to go into the season with what they've got, unless something presents itself in the trade market.
So, Shi, when you, considering what you just said, when you get to the facility, when you put the car in park and you get out of the car and you walk into the first few scrums, and you remember full well the buzz around this team. A year ago, we all do, but you were kind of in the middle of it. You were there more than me. What vibe are you expecting to see today or tomorrow, and compare it to what you saw a year ago when people already crowned them World Series champions?
I expect it to be normal. And last year, I don't know how many spring trainings it's been, but, at least 10, if not more. Last year, I'd never seen anything like last year. It was a total circus. It was a zoo. There were people coming in and out. Players were getting pulled in every which direction. It was really just a carnival. And I think what I expect to see is just a normal spring training. Nobody's darling, just a team getting ready for the season, doing the things that it needs to do. And you know what? Maybe that's going to be better for them. Because, last year certainly, I don't think you can blame the whole atmosphere for anything, but it certainly didn't help. And maybe a sense of normalcy is exactly what this group needs to just put their heads down, get their work in, and get ready for the season.
I mean, listen, obviously injuries early destroy them. Poor pitching early. Early. They had one of the worst ERAs in baseball. Poor pitching destroyed them from the starting staff's perspective throughout the season. But Shi, and you were there, so you'd know, they never seemed relaxed. They never seemed like a group, and this was from Gibbons on down. They seemed like a tight team. Burley aside, they seemed like a group of guys who've never won anything, who are expected to win everything, and that tension never left the clubhouse. Is that a fair statement?
I don't know that they were tight early. I think I saw a fairly relaxed group, a fairly confident group, but there was a group they didn't have a chance to build that cohesiveness because there were key parts of the team that are away for the World Baseball Classic. Then they got injured, and then they got off to a slow start. And then all of a sudden it was like, hey, boys, we got to save this. We got to get ourselves going. And all of a sudden then things tightened up a little bit more. So coming out of spring, I don't know that I saw that. I saw a group that was just ready to do its thing. But for whatever reason, the regular season hit, and they just never got out of the blocks. And, the first two series at home, Cleveland and Boston, you're like, all right, well, it's early, but it just seemed to just stay that way. And for the month of April, we forget this now, but Jay Happ was probably their best starter over that period. And that's not a good thing considering the guys they had. And, Josh Johnson wasn't right, and he was on the disabled list by month's end. And, Dickey was fighting the neck thing. And all that piled up, and the Blue Jays just couldn't handle it. So, that to me is where they got tight, when they realized that they're starting to lose their key guys. They didn't have the depth, and they were going to have to play catch-up.
Shi Davidi, Sportsnet.ca, just landed in Dunedin, getting ready for the first official team workout for the Toronto Blue Jays in Florida, which is scheduled for Thursday. I'm not going to ask you what everyone else's expectations are, Shi. I want to know what you think. What are your expectations of this team this season? Or is that such an unfair question at this stage of the game, I shouldn't even be asking it?
Oh, it's certainly a fair question. And, I'm going to be frank, and I really don't know what to expect because you look at it, and, yeah, there's some talent there. And if things break right, then this team could be pretty interesting. But there are a lot of ifs there, If Brendan Morrow can stay healthy, if one of Marcus Stroman, Drew Hutchison steps up, if Dickey and Burley are able to play a full season repeat their performance. Can Jose Reyes play a full season? Will they get enough out of Ryan Goins? Is Gianna Navarro an everyday guy? I mean, there are just a ton of questions. And there are times when that works out. And, Lord knows after all the injuries they've suffered the past 2 years, this team's due a little bit of good karma. But I don't know that you could feel comfortable or really handicap a team with that many ifs. So they're a very, very difficult club to project because they can go a number of different ways. And based on the past few years, I mean, we've seen it just go bad because of injuries. But what will happen is this team is so difficult because there's just so many wild cards and X factors at play.